You'll marry him today or I throw you out naked. Aunt Ngozi's fingers dig into Amara's wrist, nails breaking skin. The bride price, N50,000 in crumpled notes, sits on the wooden table between them. Outside, the church bell tolls. Inside, a 22-year-old seamstress clutches her dead mother's white lace handkerchief, gold thread glinting under fluorescent light. This African story, woven from the life stories of women silenced by tradition, echoes African folklore where the powerless rise. Like so many touching stories across our villages, this real-life story begins with a forced altar and a groom whose name Amara doesn't even know. She has 2 hours before the vows. The man waiting at that church is testing everyone. Have you ever been sold by someone who called it saving you? What happens next will shatter Aunt Ngozi's world. 3 weeks ago, Aunt Ngozi signed papers in moneylender Udo's office without reading past the interest rate, N2.8 million, 15% monthly compounding. Default clause buried in paragraph 7. Creditor reserves right to alternative compensation via guardian-authorized matrimonial contract per Ordinance 47, 1989. Her boutique had hemorrhaged cash. She needed this loan. Udo slid a business card across the desk 2 weeks later. My associate requires a bride. Your orphan niece. Debt forgiven. Gozi didn't hesitate. In her mind, this was salvation, not cruelty. Amara had no prospects. No father, no dowry. This marriage was rescue work. Gozi told herself this while selecting her new coral. Beads Ordinance 47, a colonial relic from 1989, permitted guardians to contract orphan dependents into marriage without consent if no paternal male protector exists, and union serves documented debt resolution. Never repealed. Enforceable. Ngozi's church friends had used it twice. Before, she wore those beads like a medal. Now, the church reeks of incense and mildew. Amara stands in a borrowed dress, polyester, coffee-stained hem too tight across the ribs. 80 villagers pack the pews. Programs flutter. Whispers hiss like steam. Orphan marrying a nobody. Gozi wasted 12 years on that girl. Should have sent her to the convent. Gozi grips Amara's shoulder, fingernails pressing through fabric. She's positioned herself as the martyr. New gold jewel glinting. Coral beads worth M120,000 clicking softly. Her voice carries to the back pews. I raised this child from nothing. Pause for effect. Dab at dry eyes. Sacrificed comfort so she'd have a future. Today I give her a home. The front row nods. Elderly women murmur approval. Amara clutches the white lace handkerchief hidden in her fist. Gold thread bites her palm. Her mother's deathbed whisper, keep it safe. You'll need proof you were loved. Gozi leans close, breath hot against Amara's ear. After vows, hand over that rag. Textile merchant Obi's paying 950,000 tomorrow. Your contribution. Amara's jaw tightens. She doesn't speak. The church door scrapes open. Chike Okafor enters on a rusted bicycle. Faded blue agbada, frayed cuffs missing buttons. Mud crusts his sandals. The crowd's murmur swells. Someone snickers. He's younger than expected. Maybe 28, face unreadable. Eyes meet Amara's, steady, dark, evaluating. Behind him, Emeka, the best man. Torn blazer, no tie. He'll later reveal himself as chief operating officer of a N18 billion empire. Today he's a farmer's cousin. Chike approaches the altar. Moves like someone accustomed to observation. Doesn't fidget. Father Okoro bribed N20,000 to rush this ceremony. Clears his throat. Dearly beloved, we're gathered to join Amara Nwankwo and Chike, Okafor. Right, Okafor. Father Okoro flips pages rapidly. No hymns, no homily. 10 minutes, maximum vows arrive like a sentencing. Amara, do you take this man as your lawfully wedded? Ngozi's hand clamps down. A vice, I do. Amara's voice cracks on the second word. Father Okoro nods, relieved. Turns to Chike. And do you? I do. Chike doesn't wait for the full question. Then adds, voice low, I also vow to remember everything said here today, odd phrasing. Gozi frowns, uncertain. Emeka shifts weight, hand drifting toward his pocket, where his phone is recording. Father Okoro rushes ahead. By the power vested in me, I pronounce you... One more thing, Chike interrupts. Looks directly at Amara. No one will take from you what isn't theirs to take. Silence stretches. Amara's pulse hammers. How does he know about the handkerchief? Father Okoro gestures weakly. You may now. Exchange a handshake? Chike extends his palm. Amara takes it. His skin is warm, smooth, no calluses. Strange for a farmer who supposedly works red clay soil daily. Reception, village hall, plastic chairs, jollof rice congealing in aluminum trays. 50 guests. Most came for free food. And Gozi orchestrates, stands at the head table, taps her glass with a spoon. Coral beads catch fluorescent glare. Friends. Syrup voice. Today marks my greatest sacrifice. For 12 years I carried this burden. Fed her, clothed her, taught her humility. She gestures toward Chike, who sits motionless, water untouched. Sometimes we must accept less to survive. Gozi lets the words land. Amara understands now. I've given her everything she'll ever have. Scattered applause. A few guests look away. Chike leans toward Emeka, whispers. Recording. Emeka's phone sits face down near his plate. Red light hidden. Every word. Chike nods once. 20 minutes later, Gozi corners Amara near the bathroom hallway. Wrenches the handkerchief from Amara's grip. Enough. She stuffs it into her purse. Obi's paying tomorrow. Your dowry's settled, Amara finds her voice. That was my mother's. You have no... The slap is efficient, sharp. The hallway is empty. I have every right. I fed you when no one else would. This is payment. Gozi walks away. Beads click against her hips like dice. Amara stands still, cheek burning. Doesn't cry, not here. Not for her. Across the hall, Chike watches through a kitchen doorway gap. Sees the slap. Sees the theft. Sees Amara's spine straighten despite the blow. He pulls out his phone, an old Nokia, deliberately outdated for this disguise. His actual phone, an 850,000 custom encrypted device, sits in his Ikoyi penthouse. Text to Emeka, Phase 2. Contact Obi. Emeka replies, Obi's standing by. Will purchase the handkerchief. Document provenance hold as evidence. Chike pockets the phone, returns to the head table, pays the caterer N80,000 in crisp bills. The caterer stares. Oga, this is too much. Where you get... Keep it. Chike's tone ends the conversation. Gozi notices the money, assumes debt. Foolish farmer trying to impress, she doesn't see his hands. Smooth, manicured nails beneath stage dirt, doesn't see the tan line on his left wrist, where a Patek Philippe, Nautilus and 4.2 million retail usually rests. Now locked in a safe at Okafor Innovations headquarters, she sees a nobody. In 3 months at a gala for 500 guests, Gozi will stand under crystal chandeliers and realize she sold her niece to the man whose foundation she's about to accuse of fraud. She'll remember this reception differently then. She'll remember the exact moment she stopped. Listening, Chike's compound sits in Aja 30, minutes outside Lagos, where half-finished buildings lean against each other like exhausted workers. Zinc roofs, potholed roads, generators hum after dark when NEPA fails. The house surprises Amara, not a shack. 2 bedrooms, running water, cement floors painted red oxide, a ceiling fan that works. It's not much, Chike says, setting her borrowed suitcase inside. But it's safe. Amara nods. Doesn't trust her voice yet. He shows her the kitchen. Gas stove, chipped plates, pots scrubbed clean but clearly secondhand. The bedroom has a real mattress. Sheets smell like detergent. I'll take the couch, he adds. Until you decide otherwise. She looks at him. He's removed the mud-caked sandals from the wedding. His feet are clean. Toenails trimmed. Not the feet of someone who farms red clay daily. Why did you agree to marry me? She asks quietly. Chike walks to the window. Watches the neighbors' goats chew plastic bags. Everyone has debts they don't explain at weddings. Not an answer. But not a lie either. The first week is careful silence. Chike leaves at 6:15 a.m., returns at dusk, covered in dust, shirt rumpled. Showers in the outdoor stall. Changes, eats whatever Amara cooks. Rice, beans, plantain fried in palm oil. He pays for groceries in cash. N5,000 here, N1,000 there. Never struggles. But never flaunts either. Amara watches him between chores. Notices things, his posture, straight-backed even when tired. His vocabulary, he says essentially and currently like someone who finished university. His hands, smooth palms, no farmer's calluses. Once she sees him apply lotion from a bottle tucked under the bathroom sink. She checks later. N3,500 for 200 mil. Strange purchase for a poor man, but she doesn't ask. Questions feel dangerous. She's still learning the rules of this arrangement. Day 8. Gozi visits. She arrives in a taxi wearing her church uniform, purple lace, the coral beads. No gift. Walks through the compound like an auditor inspecting failure. 2 rooms and a prayer, she taps the wall. The neighbors say your husband works construction. 1,500 per day if he's lucky. Amara is washing dishes. Doesn't turn. I warned you, Gozi continues, voice sticky with false sympathy. You could have married the caterer's son. He has a Honda, but you refused. Chike isn't home. You sold me to clear your debt, Amara says quietly. Gozi's face hardens. I saved you from the street. You stole my mother's handkerchief. I gave you 12 years. The argument is circular. Amara's heard it since age 10. Every meal weaponized as debt. I think you should leave. Gozi blinks, shocked. Excuse me? Leave, please. Gozi laughs, sharp, bitter. You'll crawl back. When he leaves you for someone prettier, you'll remember who fed you. The taxi door slams. Amara stands in the kitchen, hands shaking. First time she's ever said no. Chike returns 20 minutes later. Sees her face. Your aunt came. Not a question. Amara nods. What did she say? That I'm nothing without her. Chike sets down his canvas work bag. You're not. You don't know me. He pauses. Almost says something, stops. I know enough. Week 3, Iffy arrives, Saturday morning, early 30s, nurse's uniform, carrying jollof rice in a covered dish. She introduces herself as Chike's distant cousin. Heard you got married, Iffy says, smiling. Wanted to meet the woman who said yes to this quiet one. Chike looks uncomfortable. You didn't have to. I'm here for her. Not you. They sit in the parlor. Chike retreats to fix a door hinge. Iffy asks gentle questions. Where are you from? Do you sew? Amara relaxes. Iffy doesn't pity, just listens. Eventually, Iffy notices the fading bruise on Amara's wrist. Yellow-green now from Ngozi's wedding day grip. Who? Amara tugs her sleeve down. It's nothing. Iffy's voice hardens. It's not. Silence stretches. I knew someone once, Iffy says slowly, who believed family had the right to hurt her because they sacrificed. Took her years to leave. She pauses. Don't wait years, Amara looks up. Did she leave? Yes, with help. Iffy stands, writes her number on paper. If you need anything, call. Before leaving, she pulls a sewing machine from her trunk. Old Singer, manual pedal. I don't use this anymore, Amara stares. I can't, you can. Start small. Rebuild quiet. Week 5, Amara makes 14 dresses, simple cuts. Ankara fabric. She rents a table at Ajo Saturday market. Sells 3. Earns in 6,500, she buys more fabric. Saves the rest in a tin hidden under the bed, Chike notices. Says nothing, just nods when she mentions the market. Week 7, 10 dresses sold. N18,000 earned. A fashion blogger, university student, 12,000 Instagram followers. Photographs Amara's table. Posts, found this gem at Aja Market. Her stitching is unreal. Orders flood in. 20 dresses. Then 30. Amara works past midnight, peddling the Singer by lamplight. Chike brings her tea without asking. Doesn't hover, just lets her build. Week 9. Strange delivery. Large envelope. Addressed to someone named Okafor, but not Chike's full name. Different initials. The courier leaves before Amara can clarify. She sets it on the table. When Chike returns, he sees it. His face doesn't change, but his shoulders stiffen. That's for you, she asks. Wrong address. Common name mix-up. He tucks it into his bag unopened. She doesn't push. But that night, after he thinks she's asleep, she hears him on the phone. Whispered. She catches fragments. Postpone the meeting. Not yet, another month. She doesn't understand. But something feels unfinished. Week 12, Ngozi returns. Bangs on the door at noon. No greeting. I need money. Amara crosses her arms. I don't have any. You're selling dresses. Instagram post, in 3,000 each. You owe me. I owe you nothing. Ngozi's face twists. After everything, you sold me to Udo's contact. To clear your gambling debts, the word lands hard. Ngozi flinches. You ungrateful. Chike appears in the doorway, calm, but his presence fills the space. Time to leave. Gozi glares. You don't. This is my home. You're not welcome. Something in his voice, quiet but absolute, makes Ngozi step back. She's used to bulldozing Amara, not this man. She leaves without another word. That evening, Amara asks the question she's been avoiding. Why did you really agree to this marriage? Chike is quiet. Then, I needed to know if someone could choose me without knowing what I own. What do you own? He doesn't answer. She lets it go. For now. 3 days later, Gozi makes a phone call. She's at her church friend Mama Chidi's house, flipping through a society magazine. Page 12. Photo spread from the Okafor Foundation annual charity gala. Lagos's biggest event for orphan welfare. Founder and CEO Chike Okafor, pictured in a tailored tuxedo, shaking hands with the governor, Gozi squints at the photo. The face is familiar. Can't be. She Googles Chike Okafor CEO Nigeria. Forbes profile loads. Net worth N18.4 billion. Age 28. Industry tech and real estate photo matches. Her hands shake. She scrolls. Finds the foundation's website. Next gala, 3 weeks. Public event. Open registration for community stakeholders. Gozi's mind races. This can't be her niece's husband. He's a farmer. Wore rags. Rode a bicycle unless he's a fraud. Using the CEO's name. Bilking donations, that must be it. Gozi registers for the gala under concerned community elder. Plans to expose him publicly. Protect innocent donors. Restore her reputation as the woman who saved Amara. She doesn't realize she's walking into a trap she set herself. Meanwhile, Amara's dress orders hit 50. A boutique in Victoria Island wants to carry her designs. Offers N200,000 upfront for 20 pieces. Amara can barely breathe. She tells Chike that night. He smiles, rare, genuine. You did that yourself. Ify helped. Ify gave you a tool. You built the rest. She looks at him. Really looks. He's wearing the same faded shirt from weeks ago. But his eyes are sharp. Assessing, like someone who's used to evaluating risk. Who are you? She asks softly. Chike holds her gaze. Someone who's tired of people pretending. It's not an answer, but it's the closest he's come to honesty. The handkerchief sells on a Tuesday afternoon. Textile merchant Obi, 63, wire-rimmed glasses, shop cluttered with fabric bolts, examines it under his desk lamp. White lace, gold thread embroidery. He pinches a thread between calloused fingers, tests the weight. This is 24-karat gold, he says slowly. Hand-stitched. 1970s craftsmanship. Auction value. N800,000 minimum. Could fetch N1.2 million from the right collector. Gozi's smile freezes. So you said N150,000. That was my quote before inspection. Obi slides a pre-signed receipt across the counter. But you already agreed in writing. Legal sale. In 150,000 as stated. Gozi lunges for the handkerchief. Obi moves it out of reach, calm. Receipts binding, madam. You want to dispute? Lawyer up. She won't. Lawyers mean questions, documentation, proof of how she obtained it. Obi counts N150,000 in crisp notes. Gozi snatches the cash, humiliated, storms out. The moment the door closes, Obi texts, item secured. Provenance documented. Theft on record. Reply arrives instantly. Perfect. Hold until gala night. I'll reclaim it personally. Obi locks the handkerchief in his safe. He's been on Chike Okafor's payroll for 8 weeks, hired specifically to document Ngozi's theft with legal precision. Every word recorded. Every transaction witnessed evidence. Amara hears about the sale 2 days later. Mama Tunde, tomato, vendor at Aja Market, mentions it while Amara arranges her dress. Display, your auntie sold some heirloom to... Obi? Only got N150,000. Heard, it's worth millions. Amara's hands freeze mid-fold. What heirloom? White lace. Gold thread. Old embroidery work. The words hit like a slap. Amara abandons her stall. Walks 14 blocks to Obi's shop. Bursts through the door, breathless. Where is it? Obi looks up from his ledger. Recognizes her instantly. Chike provided photos. Where's what, madam? My mother's handkerchief. Gozi sold it. I want it back. Obi's expression softens. I can't return purchased inventory. But I can tell you it's secure. Being held for legal proceedings. What legal proceedings? Not at liberty to discuss. Amara's voice cracks. Did my husband arrange this? Obi's silence is answer enough. That night Amara confronts Chike. He's fixing the compound gate, rusted hinge, squeaking. Amara approaches, arms crossed tight. You paid Obi to buy my mother's handkerchief. Chike sets down his wrench. Doesn't deny it. Why? To document the theft. Create a legal record. Record for what? For when you're ready to press charges against her. Amara's voice rises. You should have asked me first. You're absolutely right. He stands, wipes grease from his palms. I overstepped. I'm sorry. The apology disarms her. She expected defensiveness. Who are you really? She asks quietly. Chike holds her gaze. Someone who's been lied to before. Someone who needed to know if you'd stay when you found out I tested you. Tested me how? You'll understand soon. I promise. Why not tell me now? Because once you know, you'll question everything. And I need you to decide about us before the variables change. Decide what? Whether what we're building is real. Amara stares at him. This man who slept on a couch for 12 weeks. Who brings her tea at 2 a.m. Who stood between her and Gozi without being asked. I don't know what game you're playing, she says slowly. But I'm not leaving. Not yet. Relief flickers across his face. That's all I'm asking for. A little more time. That same evening, Ngozi registers for the Okafor Foundation Gala. She's at Mama Chidi's house, flipping through a society magazine. Page 9. Full spread ad Okafor Foundation. 10th Annual Charity Gala. Empowering Orphans. Building Futures. Photo. Founder Chike Okafor in a tuxedo, shaking hands with the vice president. Ngozi squints at the image. The face looks familiar. She Googles Chike Okafor CEO Nigeria. Forbes profile loads. Age 28. Net worth N18.4 billion. Tech and real estate. Photo shows him at a UN summit. Her breath catches. Same bone structure. Same eyes, but this man exudes power. Expensive suit. Confident posture. The farmer she mocked wore frayed agbada. Rode a bicycle. Paid in 50,000 like it hurt. Can't be the same person. Unless it's identity theft. Fraud. Mama Chidi, Ngozi says carefully. Can you get me into this gala? Registration closed. But I have a +1 invite. Use it on me. Ngozi spends an 81,500 preparing. New dress. N45,000 on credit. Gold jewelry N28,000 borrowed. Hair Nate 500. She's drowning in debt. But this is investment. At the gala, she'll expose the imposter publicly. Demand investigation. Imagine the headlines. Community elder saves orphan charity from fraudster redemption. Reward money. Restored reputation. She practices in her bathroom mirror. I'm here to report a man impersonating Mr. Okafor to scam vulnerable families. Perfect delivery. 5 days before the gala, Chike tells Amara. They're eating fried plantain and beans. Quiet evening. Cicadas buzzing outside. There's an event Saturday, Chike says casually. Charity gala. Benefits orphans. I volunteer security sometimes. Would you come with me? Amara looks up. As what? As my wife. He says it without hesitation this time. Her chest tightens. What do I wear? Something you designed. Show them what you can do. She spends 4 days sewing. White linen dress. Gold thread along the collar and hem. Subtle echo of her mother's handkerchief. Clean lines, honest, not trying to impress. Just her. She assumes it's a modest community event. Church basement. 100 guests maybe. She has no idea. She's walking into a ballroom of 500 elites. She has no idea her aunt will be there. She has no idea the volunteer she married will take a microphone and detonate her entire understanding of reality. Gala night, Saturday. 6 p.m. Amara spends 2 hours getting ready. Her dress fits perfectly. Borrowed earrings from Ife. No makeup, she doesn't own any. Just petroleum jelly on her lips for shine. Chike emerges from the bedroom. He's wearing a suit, not the faded agbada. Not construction clothes. A charcoal suit, tailored, sharp. White shirt, silk tie. Leather shoes polished to mirrors. Amara stares. Where did you get that? Borrowed it from a friend who works events, Chike says smoothly. Can't show up looking like a beggar. He looks transformed. Taller, broader. Like someone who's worn suits his entire life. You look different, Amara says softly. Good different or bad different? I don't know yet. A car pulls up, sleek black Mercedes. Tinted windows. Driver in uniform. Amara hesitates at the door. Volunteers get car service? Senior volunteers, Chike lies. Foundation treats their people well. She slides into leather seats. The car smells like new money. Echo Hotel, Victoria Island. They pull up to a red carpet. Actual red carpet. Photographers. Velvet ropes. Security and earpieces. Amara's stomach drops. Chike, this isn't a community event. It's fine. We're expected. Expected by who? He takes her hand. Trust me, please. They walk past security. No ID check. No questions. Like they're on a list. The ballroom is blinding. Crystal chandeliers the size of cars. Tables dressed in white silk, gold orchid centerpieces. 500 guests in evening gowns and tuxedos. Amara recognizes faces from TV. Nollywood actors, politicians, CEOs with Wikipedia pages. She grabs Chike's arm. We don't belong here. You belong anywhere you choose to be, he says quietly. Head up. A server offers champagne. Amara's never held a champagne flute before. She takes one, hand trembling. A photographer approaches. Excuse me, sir. Photo for the foundation's social media. Chike nods. Pulls Amara close. Flash. The photographer moves on. Amara's head spins. Why did he call you sir? Volunteers get respect here. A woman in diamonds interrupts, 60-ish, dripping in emeralds. Chike, darling. Is this her? Chike smiles. Mrs. Bakare, meet my wife, Amara. Mrs. Bakare kisses both Amara's cheeks. Stunning dress. Who's the designer? I made it. Brilliant. Call me Monday. I need 5 for my boutique. She sweeps away before Amara can respond. Chike, what's happening? He doesn't answer. A man in a tuxedo calls his name across the room. Urgent. Wait here, Chike says. 2 minutes. He disappears into the crowd. Amara stands alone, clutching her champagne, drowning in silk and chandeliers. Across the ballroom, Gozi arrives. Gold dress. Borrowed jewelry. Fresh hairstyle. Mama Chidi beside her, scanning for celebrities. Security checks Ngozi's name on the +1 list. Waves her through. She walks in, spine straight, coral beads clicking. The opulence stuns her. This is power. This is where she should have always belonged. She scans the room. Spots a banner near the stage. OK for foundation. 10 years of impact. Below it, founder Chike Okafor. She searches for the CEO, needs to find him before the imposter does. Then she sees Amara, her niece, in a white dress, holding champagne at a Billionaire's gala. Ngozi's brain stutters. She pushes through the crowd. What are you doing here? Ngozi hisses. Amara turns, sees her aunt. The champagne flute nearly slips. Aunt Ngozi, how did you get into this event? I came with my husband. Ngozi laughs, sharp, ugly. Your husband's a farmer. He has no business. A man approaches. Tailored suit, graying temples, expensive watch. Is there a problem? Senator Adeyemi, Foundation board member, asks smoothly. Ngozi seizes the moment. Yes, my niece is here with an imposter. A man pretending to be Chike Okafor. I need to speak to security. Senator Adeyemi frowns. I'm sorry, who are you? Ngozi Nwankwo, community elder from Ife village. 3 months ago, I arranged my niece's marriage to a poor farmer named Chike, and 50,000 bride price. He wore rags, rode a bicycle. Now he's here in a suit pretending. The senator's eyebrows rise. You arranged a marriage for N50,000? Yes, to protect her. She's an orphan, and this farmer's name was Chike Okafor. Yes, but he can't be the real. The senator's expression shifts. Confusion, then realization. Then something like pity. Madam, I think you should speak to the MC. Why? He doesn't answer. Just gestures to security. The MC taps the microphone. Feedback squeals. Ladies and gentlemen, we have an unscheduled announcement. Our founder would like to address you. Please welcome Mr. Chike Okafor. Spotlight swings, lands on Chike. He walks to the stage, confident, shoulders back. Takes the microphone. Amara's heart stops. Ngozi's face drains of color. Chike looks directly at them both. Good evening. For those who don't know me, I'm Chike Okafor. I founded this organization 10 years ago after my mother passed away. She was orphaned as a child, exploited by family. I built this foundation so no child would endure what she did. Applause. Amara can't breathe. Tonight, Chike continues, voice steady, I want to talk about exploitation, specifically about Ordinance 47, a colonial law that allows guardians to force orphans into marriage without consent. Murmurs ripple through the crowd. 3 months ago, a woman used that law to sell her niece, a 22-year-old seamstress, into marriage. Bride price N50,000. The woman never asked the groom's full name, never vetted him. She saw shabby clothes and assumed poverty. Ngozi's coral beads tremble. That woman is here tonight. The ballroom holds its breath. 500 guests scan the crowd, searching. Phones rise, red recording lights blink. Ngozi stands frozen. Her coral beads suddenly weigh like chains. Ngozi Nwankwo, Chike says into the microphone. Spotlight swings. Catches her in its glare. She's pinned. A moth under glass. Cameras turn zoom. 3 months ago, Chike continues, voice calm as a surgeon's hand, you used Ordinance 47, a colonial law from 1989, to sell your orphaned niece into marriage. Bride price N50,000. You never asked my full occupation. You saw a bicycle and faded clothes and made assumptions. Ngozi's mouth opens. No sound emerges. You exploited paragraph 3 of that ordinance. Guardian may contract dependent into matrimonial arrangement without consent if no paternal protector exists, and union serves documented debt resolution. Perfectly legal. Morally bankrupt. A woman in the third row, Nollywood actress, covers her mouth. Jesus Christ. Senator Adeyemi shakes his head slowly. At our wedding reception, Chike says, you made a speech. Security, play the audio. A screen descends behind him. Hemeka, now clearly the event coordinator, not the shabby best man, taps his tablet. Ngozi's voice fills the ballroom. Syrupy. Proud. Sometimes we must accept less to survive. Amara understands this now. I've given her everything she'll ever have. Silence like a held breath. Chike lets it stretch. Then, that was you, Auntie Ngozi, telling 80 villagers that my wife should be grateful for poverty she never chose. Ngozi finds her voice, shrill, desperate. You deceived me. You pretended to be poor. I wore old clothes, Chike agrees. I rode a borrowed bicycle. I paid an honest bride price. But I never lied about my name. You never asked for ID, never requested a background check. You saw an exit from your debt and took it. Murmurs ripple. A man near the bar says loudly, she sold her like property. Ngozi's voice cracks. I saved her. She was nothing without me, an orphan with no future. You also stole from her. Chike's tone doesn't rise. Doesn't need to, I did not. Next slide, please. The screen changes. Scanned receipt. Sale of antique lace handkerchief, N150,000. Seller, Ngozi Nwankwo. Buyer, Obi Textiles below it. Independent appraisal document. Estimated auction value, N800,000, N1.2 million. A journalist in the front row whistles low. That handkerchief, Chike says quietly, belonged to Amara's late mother. You seized it on our wedding day. Sold it 2 weeks later. Kept the money, Gozi stammers. It was payment. For 12 years of raising her. You didn't raise her out of charity. Chike nods to Emeka, who distributes slim folders to the front row. Journalists, lawyers, foundation board members, child welfare services placed Amara with you at age 10. They paid N15,000 monthly stipend. 12 years equals N2.16 million. The folders contain bank statements proving you received every deposit. A lawyer flips pages, eyes widening. Grocery receipts show Amara's food budget averaged N8,000 monthly, barely half the stipend. The rest you spent on yourself. A woman behind Gozi mutters, she pocketed welfare money. Ngozi's knees shake. This was supposed to. She was going to expose him. She tries to push toward the exit. 2 security guards step into her path. Not aggressive. Just present. I'm not finished, Chike says. Across the ballroom, Amara stands trembling. The chandeliers blur. Faces swim. Her lungs won't fill properly. He tested her. For 12 weeks, he lied. Watched her scrub floors, sew dresses, count coins. Pretended they were struggling together. Evaluated her like a lab experiment. Mrs. Bakare squeezes her hand. Breathe, sweetheart. In through the nose, Amara gulps air, tastes champagne on her tongue. While rising, he lied, she whispers. He did, Mrs. Bakare agrees. And you get to decide what that means. On stage, Chike's voice softens. I need to explain why I did this. He pauses. Swallows hard. For the first time tonight, his composure cracks. 8 months ago, my mother died. Heart attack. She was 56. The room stills. Before she passed, she told me about a woman who tried to extort N50 million from our family. Fake pregnancy claim. Threatened to go to the press, destroy our reputation. My mother, who'd been orphaned herself as a child, took it personally. The stress triggered arrhythmia. She collapsed in our kitchen. His voice thickens. He blinks hard. At her funeral, I made a promise. I'd never let someone love my money before they loved me. So I created a test. I hired investigators to find families exploiting Ordinance 47, people who'd sell dependents without vetting buyers. And when I found Auntie Gozi, he looks directly at her. You made it easy. You didn't ask questions. You didn't protect Amara. You saw N50,000 and a debt solution and moved on. Ngozi's face crumples. She tries to speak. Can't, I tested you, Chike says. And you failed spectacularly. Then he turns, looks at Amara across the crowd, their eyes meet. But Amara knew nothing. She's not part of this game. She's the reason I'm ending it. Amara's breath catches. For 12 weeks, Chike continues, voice raw, I watched her choose dignity when I gave her every reason to choose bitterness. She set boundaries with her aunt. Rebuilt her business with a borrowed sewing machine. Never asked me for money. Never treated me differently when neighbors mocked us. He swallows. She passed a test she didn't know she was taking. And that's the cruelest thing I've ever done. Silence, heavy, choking. Amara, if you're listening, I don't deserve your forgiveness. I manipulated circumstances. I lied by omission. I prioritized my fear over your autonomy. His voice breaks, but I'm asking, publicly, in front of everyone. Please give me a chance to earn back what I stole. The ballroom waits. Amara doesn't move. Can't, not yet. Chike turns back to Ngozi. Composure returns. The mask rebuilt. As for you, I'm not pressing criminal charges. That's Amara's decision. But I am implementing consequences. Emeka steps forward with a velvet box. First, the handkerchief has been recovered. Obi held it as evidence per my request. It's being returned to Amara tonight. Your 150,000 was refunded this afternoon. He opens the box. White lace, gold thread shimmering under stage lights. Ngozi lunges. That's mine. You paid below market value for stolen goods. Transactions voided. Security blocks her. Second, Chike continues, Okafor Foundation is funding legal reform. We're lobbying the National Assembly to repeal Ordinance 47. We've already secured 12. Sponsors, applause erupts. Slow, then building. Third, I'm establishing the Amara Nwankwo Scholarship Fund and 10 million annually for orphaned women learning skilled trades. The applause swells. Someone whistles. Amara's knees buckle. Mrs. Bakare catches her elbow. And finally, Chike says, voice dropping, Auntie Ngozi, you need to leave. Ngozi's mouth works. No sound. She grabs at her collar. Her coral beads, those N120,000 status symbols, snag on her dress. She yanks. The string snaps. Beads explode across marble. Red and gold, bouncing, scattering, dozens of them rolling between designer heels and polished. Oxford's click, 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 click. The sound echoes in the silent ballroom. Gozi drops to her. Knees, scrambles, fingers. Grasping, a security guard kneels beside her, gentle. Ma'am, let's get you outside. He helps her stand. Guides her toward the exit. She doesn't resist. The ballroom doors close behind her with a soft click. No one applauds. No one jeers. Just silence. Chike descends the stage, walks directly to Amara. The crowd parts like water. He stops 3 feet away. Doesn't presume. Doesn't reach for her. I lied about who I was, he says quietly. But I never lied about wanting you. About respecting you. About showing up. Amara's voice is ice. You humiliated me. I did. In front of 500 people. Yes. You let me believe we were poor. That we were struggling together. I did. And it was cruel. Why? His eyes glisten. Because I've been used before. And I was terrified it would happen again. So I controlled the variables. I played God with your life. And I'm sorry. Amara stares at him. This man who slept on a couch for 12 weeks. Who brought her tea at 2 a.m. Who never made her feel small. Who also lied, manipulated. Used her as a test subject. Both truths coexist. I don't forgive you, she says slowly. He nods. I understand. I might not forgive you for months. Maybe years. I'll wait. But I'm not leaving tonight. His breath catches. Because you're right about one thing, Amara continues, voice steadying. You lied about money, but you didn't lie about showing up. About defending me. About letting me rebuild. She steps forward. Extends her hand. We're going to therapy. Real therapy. And you're going to grovel. A smile breaks across his face, tentative, hopeful. How long? Until I say stop. He takes her hand. Deal. The ballroom erupts. Amika approaches with the velvet box. Chike takes it, opens it carefully, places the handkerchief in Amara's palms. This was always yours, he whispers. No one takes from you again. Amara clutches the lace. Her mother's hands touched this. Her grandmother's needle stitched this gold thread, proof she was loved before she was sold. She looks at Chike. Really looks. Couch. 2 months minimum. He laughs. Exhausted. Relieved. I deserve worse. You do. But I'm merciful. Senator Adeyemi approaches. Mrs. Okafor, we'd love to feature your story. Ms. Nwankwo, Amara corrects gently. I'm keeping my name. At least until he earns the privilege. The senator grins. Even better. Outside, Gozi sits on the hotel curb, gold dress wrinkled. Borrowed jewelry returned to Mama Chidi, who left without offering a ride. Her phone buzzes. Church group chat saw the video. Don't come Sunday, landlord. Rent overdue. Pay Monday or vacate. She stares at her empty hands, no beads. No handkerchief. No niece to control a taxi stops. Need a ride? She climbs in, gives her address. Through the rear window she sees them, Amara and Chike emerging from the hotel. Photographers, flashing lights. His arm protective around her shoulders, everything Ngozi never gave. The taxi turns. They vanish. 3 days after the gala, the video hits 10 million views. Coral beads justice trends for 48 hours. A human rights lawyer in Abuja files the first petition to repeal Ordinance 47. Citing Amara's case as exhibit, Amara watches none of it. Every replay feels like dissection. She's in Chike's real home now, a penthouse in Ikoyi with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Lagos Harbour. She takes the master bedroom. He sleeps in his study, doesn't push, doesn't presume every morning. Breakfast outside her door, a kara, fruit, a handwritten note. Day 4. Take your time. I'm not going anywhere. On day 5, she opens the door while he's still there. We need to talk. They sit in separate armchairs. Distance intentional. I need you to understand what you stole, Amara says. Chike nods. Silent. For 12 weeks, I thought we were equals. Poor but equal. I thought you saw me, not the orphan, not the project, just me. But I was your hypothesis. You were collecting data. Her voice doesn't waver. I steady. You took my agency. You made me a test subject in your trauma recovery. Chike's throat works. You're right. I know I am. The question is, do you understand why it's unforgivable? Long pause. Then, because I treated you like a variable instead of a person. I prioritize my fear over your humanity. And even if I meant well, impact matters more than intent. Amara exhales slowly. Yes, I can't undo those 12 weeks, Chike says quietly. I can grovel. I can earn trust back brick by brick. But I can't return the time when you believed we were partners and I knew we weren't. No, you can't. Silence like held breath. So what now? He asks. Amara pulls out her phone. Opens notes. She's been writing this since the gala. My terms. 1 public apology. Handwritten, posted to the foundation site. Explaining what you did and why it was wrong. I'll write it today. 2. You fund legal aid for every orphan challenging forced marriages. Not lobbying. Direct representation. I'll establish the fund this week. 3. You don't touch me until I initiate. Pain flickers across his face. He nods. Understood. 4. If I choose to leave in 6 months, you don't fight. Clean divorce. No weaponized wealth. He swallows hard. Agreed. Violate any term, I'm gone. No warnings, I understand. That afternoon, Chike writes 3 pages by hand, fountain pen. No edits. I manipulated circumstances to test Amara without her consent. I treated her like an experiment. What I did was legal but morally bankrupt. I commit to funding systemic reform, so no one else endures what she did. Posted at 6 p.m. 20,000 shares in an hour. Half the comments call him brave. Half call him a narcissist. Both are true. 6 weeks later, National Assembly hearing. The chamber is packed, cameras, reporters. 4 women testify about forced marriages under Ordinance 47. Amara speaks last. My grandmother stitched gold thread into a handkerchief, she says, voice steady. She told my mother, even in poverty, you're woven with worth. That handkerchief was stolen, sold, weaponized. But the truth she stitched into it? No one could take that. She holds up the lace. Cameras zoom. Tradition is peer pressure from dead people. And this tradition dies today. The gallery erupts. The elder from If village, who enabled Ngozi's contract, stands at the microphone, sweating. "We didn't know the harm—" "You knew," Amara interrupts. "You chose not to care," the committee votes. Ordinance 47 repeal passes first reading. Projected law within 6 months, 8 weeks after the gala. The Golden Thread Scholarship launches. First recipient, Blessing, 19, orphaned at 12. She sits at a new sewing machine in Amara's Victoria Island studio, the one Chike funded per Amara's term, that she owned 100% equity. "I never thought I'd touch a machine this nice." Blessing whispers. Amara guides her hands on the fabric. "You deserve nice things, not because someone gave them to you, because you're building them yourself." Blessing's first project, a dress with gold thread accents just like Amara's. 10 weeks post-gala, Gozi appears. Security buzzes up. "Ngozi Nwankwo to see you." Amara's hand still on the pedal, she could refuse. "Should, maybe. Send her up." Ngozi looks hollow. "No beads, no gold. Plain blouse. Thin wrapper. I don't expect forgiveness," she says at the doorway. "I came to return this envelope. Can I see 50,000? The handkerchief money. It was never mine. Amara doesn't take it. Keep it, pay your rent. But don't expect absolution." Ngozi's eyes fill. "I know. I forgive you," Amara says, voice level, "because carrying bitterness will poison me. But forgiveness doesn't erase what you did. You exploited me, sold me, stole from me. Those facts don't change because you're sorry now." Tears slip down Ngozi's face. "I start community service Monday. Women's shelter, court-ordered. But I want to do it right." "Good, do that." Amara softens slightly. "Maybe in 5 years we have coffee. Maybe never. But for now, leave." Gozi sets the envelope down. Walks out, door closes. Amara sits. Presses palms to her closed eyes. Freedom feels like grief sometimes. That night, Amara initiates touch for the first time. She finds Chike in his office, reviewing budgets. "Can I sit?" He looks up, nods. She sits across from him. "Still distance? I'm not ready to forgive. But I'm ready to stop punishing." Relief washes his face. "That's enough." She reaches across the desk. Extends her hand. He takes it. Palm to palm, warm, imperfect, real. They sit 10 minutes, silent, rebuilding trust one touch at a time. Outside, Lagos glitters. Harbor lights reflected in glass. Amara closes her eyes. Remembers her grandmother's voice through her mother's stories. "You're woven with worth, not given worth. Not tested for worth, woven with it, always." She squeezes. Chike's hand, he squeezes back. It's not forgiveness yet, but it's a beginning. 6 months later. Ordinance 47 dies on a Tuesday morning. Governor signs the repeal, Amara beside him for the cameras. She wears white linen with gold thread at the collar. Her signature now. The law that sold her is gone. 43 other women file paperwork within the first week, challenging their forced marriages. The Golden Thread Legal Fund represents them all. Pro bono, Amara's studio hums with quiet power. 11 seamstresses, all orphans, all scholarship recipients, work singer machines in rows by the window. Blessing, now lead trainer, demonstrates a French seam to 2 new girls. Fabric in jewel tones covers the cutting tables. Orders stack up. Paris, London, Atlanta, Dubai. But twice monthly, Amara still works the Aja Saturday market. Same wooden table. Same hand-sewn labels. Roots matter. The white lace handkerchief hangs framed above her workspace. Not hidden, not sold, just present. Proof that worth survives theft. Chike still attends therapy. Tuesdays and Thursdays, no exceptions. He's learning that control is just fear in expensive clothes. That love requires surrender, not strategy. They sleep in separate bedrooms. Healing doesn't follow timelines. Some mornings, Amara wakes to tea outside her door and a note. No agenda. Just tea. Some mornings, she opens the door before he walks away. Last month, they renewed their vows. 20 guests. Garden ceremony. Ife officiated. Amara wrote every word this time. I choose you now. Not because I was sold to you. Not because you tested me. But because you're learning that love means showing up after you fail. I choose you today. Ask me again tomorrow. Chike's voice broke on his reply. I'll ask every day. For the rest of my life. They didn't kiss. She wasn't ready. They held hands instead. Small steps. Real steps. Ngozi completed her 200 mandated hours at the women's shelter. Then kept showing up. Every Thursday, she teaches basic sewing to survivors of domestic violence. Doesn't speak about Amara, doesn't use her story for redemption points, just shows up quietly, differently. She sent one letter 3 months ago, handwritten, no return address. I can't undo what I did. I won't insult you by trying, but I'm learning to be someone who doesn't repeat it. That's all I can offer. Amara didn't reply. But she kept the letter. Forgiveness doesn't require reconciliation. Sometimes it's just releasing the chain. The Okafor Foundation now operates in 12 countries, 40,000 orphans supported annually. But the Lagos headquarters keeps one photograph in the marble lobby. Amara at the National Assembly, holding her grandmother's handkerchief high. Chin up, eyes clear. Underneath a bronze plaque. Tradition is just peer pressure from dead people. And some traditions deserve to die. Visitors stop, read, photograph it, share it. One voice became a movement. Sunday afternoon, golden hour. Amara sits alone in her studio, sewing a wedding dress for a client in Houston. Ivory silk, gold thread along the train, her signature. Sunlight slants through floor-to-ceiling windows. Lagos traffic hums 7 stories below. Her phone buzzes, orders, interview requests, a message from Chike asking if she wants dinner. She ignores it all. Just her and the machine and the thread. She thinks about her grandmother, who died before Amara was born but left truth stitched into lace. About her mother, who whispered, "Keep it safe," with her last breath. About Gozi, who stole it but couldn't erase its meaning. About Chike, who tested her but couldn't diminish her. She finishes the hem. Cuts the thread. Holds the silk to the light. Gold glows like small fires. Even in poverty, you're woven with worth not given, not earned, not proven, woven, from the beginning. These are the African stories that heal us, the real-life stories of women who refuse to disappear. Like African folklore passed through generations, Amara's life story teaches what touching stories always do. Resilience isn't loud. It's the quiet refusal to shrink when the world demands it. These touching stories, born from injustice, become the blueprints for freedom. Now it's your turn. Have you ever been tested by someone who claimed they loved you? Have you forgiven someone without letting them back in? Drop your story below. Share what boundary you set that saved your life. We read every single comment. If this story moved you, share it with someone rebuilding after betrayal. Text it to your sister who needs to hear that worth can't be stolen. Send it to your friend who's learning to say no. Subscribe and hit the bell. Next week, a fisherman's widow exposes a governor's corruption using nothing but a ledger, a lawyer, and relentless faith. The ending will make you believe in justice again. Comment below, what would you do? Would you stay? Would you forgive? Would you test someone back? Your voice matters. Your story matters. Let's build something better together.